Hello guys, and monthly is going to be first. You voted. This doesn't mean that twin flames are not coming up. They are coming up very next week. So let's kind of go with general messages, and actually from what I see there will be twin flames over here as well. First of all, my promotion, speed up promotion, is still on. I'm struggling to catch up, especially this weekend. I was like lying down in bed and relaxing and more or less recovering from a kind of like stomach bug kind of thing, but it is still on. So that means within 7 days you get it now instead of 3 weeks if you order regular. If you order a rush, you get it within 3 days, and if you order urgent, 24 hours. And that's it. Let's start with this. It was interesting. I was shuffling cards and I was thinking, which kind of card decks do I kind of like pick? These are general messages for all the signs for this kind of like transition of Leo. So this is basically almost until the end of August, and very similar messages I'm getting here around and around. There's like this Nautilus, right? Fibonacci, if you really wish. And then from this deck I got the Burden. Look at that. It's kind of like interesting card. Actually, probably I should put this on autofocus so you can see it better. Look at that. It's saddled with a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, you need to do that, and even the rooster on top of the head. So just kind of like being bombarded with things that maybe we shouldn't be doing. So 6, and then another 6. Talking about a time passage, and this makes so much sense. We are entering Mercury retrograde, and of course it's going to be some kind of possibly memory lane. It might be somebody showing up. And then we have, this is law of attraction, the law of attraction. There is like this universal feeling of belonging. So 3 6s are not the devil's sign. 3 6s are twin flames, soulmates. Something will be really cutting through over here. Now, this is also a very interesting card. It's like talking about, you know, there is like that spiral in there, and it's the quality of events when a lesson, it's not really quite integrated. You know, cycles that we kind of like really are challenged to break. We need to revisit a pattern from a new perspective. So when we get this card, it's kind of like a reminder that although maybe sometimes it appears that we are going backward, as oh my gosh, I'm never going to catch up with these bills or stuff like that, the truth is that you are now standing at a higher ground. You know how we've been through elementary school, we kind of like learn certain things in biology, history, right, whatever. Then you get to high school, you're learning the same thing, but much more. You're seeing it from a different kind of like perspective. So this is kind of like telling me that you will be we will be looking at our circumstances and learn something. And we now, with this Mercury retrograde, will be pulling something from the past, something that maybe burdened us, something that kind of like the time is up, sort of a thing, right? If it is a twin flame, then we need to really look at it and say, hey, wait a minute, this is all awesome, but it doesn't work for my life, or it does work in my life, and I will continue with that, right? So no more how did I get here again kind of a thing, right? It's, if this is like something that sounds familiar to you in your dynamics with others, it really kind of like maybe, you know, you're realizing that you're repeating an old story with the same sort of a person. You know what I say, you know, maybe they're attracted to you because of kind of like your easy acquaintance, and you kind of like can wrap around their own qualities. But this is also kind of like telling me, meaning the person, this is kind of like typical with twin flames. Twin flame is more or less an energy not of a person but of a soul, and I think it energy kind of can jump from a person to a different person. So meeting the same person in a different bodies can be the case over here. And like you're saying, oh my gosh, I feel that it's a lots of self-blame for some people. How did I get here? How do I get out? And I kind of like it, because when we get bothered with something, which obviously here we are kind of like really bothering, then we are actually able to change it. There's like definitely echo of the past that is happening over here. Like, we can see it here, this passage of time. But look at this, like this shoulds and shouldn'ts. And who is imposing on you stuff? And if you're doing something and you don't really like it, or that it has no function, then why are you doing it? It's kind of like time to really do it, because you can always go faster, you can always try harder, you can always reach the top. Hey, how about, stopping that rat race, stopping that struggle kind of a thing? Because it tells me, and that was like me over the weekend, hey, you really will not have the energy if you keep doing that, right? Chances are, like, that this kind of like issues. Hi, Sophie. See, she's leaving her little prints over here. Chances are that like maybe lots of things that you feel that you should do are really in your mind. It doesn't mean that they have to weigh you down, right? So it's really time to lighten up over there. It's really time to kind of like really figure out what is the burden in your life. Because you know what they say, you keep repeating the same things over and over and over, you're not really going to get different results. Something will really need to change. So I really think it's going to be lots of internal work, lots of stuff that is again coming to the fore. But in a good way, because it's going to get resolved with kind of like this telling me this like law of attraction is working. It is attracting emotions, persons, situations. So thinking positive thoughts and telling yourself, you know what, I always done this. Let me kind of like try to do things kind of like differently this time around. This actually will work this time. So shifting the patterns, shifting the perceptions, not really jumping on, issues or words that people tell you, kind of like doing things differently will actually really be effective at this time. So let's go into individual taroscopes. And I also want to just give happy birthday to Leos and toward the end of the month, Virgos. So Virgos are already kind of getting ready, and Leos are going to have an awesome time. So let's start. Hi Cancers, and welcome to your monthlies. And just to be clear, this is a general reading, so to put these tidbits together, check your ascendant, check your moon sign. If you really want to go nuts, check your Venus sign, and if you're cross-watching, check their Mars sign. Of course, nothing beats private readings, so hopefully, I'll be hearing from you. So let's see, Cancer, what's in the store for you. Whoa, what a lovely kind of like baseline over here. You have the Empress, and you have give your relationship a chance. The Empress is that generous, gorgeous thing where you feel like, you are completely able to make decisions that can actually relate to you and relate to your family. It can be a level of kind of like encouragement that you give to people around you, that you are basically a role model that kind of like should be honored, and you're going to really feel that way. This is also definitely a creative card, so for those of you in creative professions, marketing, arts, etc., even science that kind of like needs some creation is really good news. Now creative financing, that's kind of tricky field, right? Let's not go there. So let's see here. Chemistry, pay attention to the red flags. Attraction, trust, ooh, new love, retreat, healing family issues, express your love, free yourself. Why did you get this codependency in the end? Well, good news is like that, and it's probably on the way out. That's probably what it is. The good news is like that's the only kind of category in this kind of like spread that it can be really changed. But let's see what the rest of the cards say. And also, I'll be telling you the names of these cards as I go along. Not everybody is familiar with my kitty cards, but they actually, you just have to look at the emotion that kind of convey you. So let's start. Trust. There was like this essence of, you know what, I have to do everything alone. Like, if I don't do it, it's not going to make me happy. This can be a little bit of a controlling issue, but it could be simply that maybe you placed your trust into someone who maybe still didn't come through. So you have 9 of Cups, yeah, 7 of Swords, and 3 of Swords. That's why it is. You have been waiting for some kind of resolution, guys, for some kind of happiness, for something to come to you. And instead of coming to you, somebody just basically grabbed what's fitting to them and basically maybe even squashed your heart. This is really, to me, always a card of betrayal, deception, when people kind of like do know, hey, this is right and this is wrong. And then what do you pick? Hey, you know what? I can get away with this. Let me just do that, right? It's kind of like narrow-minded thinking, as if we can get away from stuff like that, you know? Karma is, the whole idea here is like that egoless, and the whole idea is like what you do with this ego that is given to you, right? So, you know, if you have had even bad manners, bad intentions, wickedness, right, misdeeds, that's going to come back to haunt you. So yeah, you did hurt someone, huh? You know, maybe you just don't care how they feel. So somebody here definitely was the one grabbing, somebody was like taking, and there was this rejection and hurt. And this is also telling me that could have been a third party, and somebody could have rejected you for somebody else. And it really feels hard. Now, it is kind of interesting because we did have the Empress on the bottom, and here you have attraction, but you also have the Hierophant. And Hierophant to me is the marriage card, right? So let's see what else do we get. 7 of Pentacles and 9 of Pentacles. Well, that is kind of interesting, because this is all talking about rebuilding, but it's also talking about sort of like looking at things that are constraining you and looking at things that are maybe not workable, but also things that should be, right? So let's say we have our sets of beliefs. Well, you know, I believe in this and I would like things to happen this way. So should be that I should not cheat, right? So these are my shoulds. I want this environment like that. And there is like maybe also calling that marriage vows that some of you had. Maybe somebody betrayed them. Maybe some of you are willing to work on this, willing to kind of like push it forward. Knight of Pentacles can actually be a friend zone. It can also mean something moving slowly, and something also that needs to kind of like be rebuilt, kind of like slow and sure, kind of like, you know, winning the game. So in your heart of hearts, right, you have this like the Hangman or the Hangcat reversed, and you also have chemistry and pay attention to the red flags, and also 5 of Swords reversed. So this is kind of like similar. You might have somebody, you might have a fire sign or another water sign. You have maybe are facing a situation where somebody is clearly, well, whoever was hurt over here is also trying to rebuild. So like we have these 2 sevens here, but what is basically this happening is that somebody is saying, yeah, I learned a lesson. So the whole idea here of rebuilding is if person learned a lesson and move forward. Just somebody saying I did it without turning out to be transparent, without doing the stuff that they need to do, without, you know, accounting for their actions, without like really opening themselves, not 100%, 2000%. It's not going to go nowhere. Sure, so what if you're attracted to them? Like, this is like, since when is this a predictor of the happiness? How did it work for you so far? Because you have to understand that is a really big giving somebody that second chance after that. I don't know which sign it was, Taurus, where I was explaining the trust almost looks like a little weight, right? Like, so it's very solid, and when you give it to somebody and they smashed it, where do you go from there? It's just like freaking dust. You cannot even glue it together, and even if you glue it, and all of a sudden will be kind of like spaces all over the place, it's really, really, really hard. So be very careful when somebody, oh, I learned my lesson. Oh, just because you say so means nothing. So let's see what else. You have the Fool reversed, and you have the Wheel of Fortune. Wow, now this is big. We have these 3 major arcanas over here. This is definitely a master number here that is really telling you, in order for something to build, somebody has to stop being stupid. And sorry for not beating around the bush, but this kind of like the Fool card, when it reverses, talks about being foolish. And somebody's like full of themselves, really. Honestly, like, it really gets me angry when I see a person like that. It's like one of those people who would go on opera shows and stuff like that. Oh, no, it's just that. And they kind of appear to be, you know, really dealing with their problems, and they don't. And everybody can see this like big red, like kind of like blinking sign in ahead, like over their head, like liar, 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 liar. You know, it's kind of like really interesting, because I'm kind of like afraid that they will get away with this with you. They will, even though the wheel here is in motion. Wheel is talking that big changes are happening, the big changes are coming. And so it's going to be a learning lesson, not only for you, but also for them. Because karma is also testing them. It's not only that we fix other people. We pretty much cannot fix anybody. If people don't want to fix themselves and be better human beings, that's all. You know, you cannot do anything. You can just observe that and say, that's too bad. I saw this potential in you, but potential is, after all, just a potential. Just because they have matches and a candle, if this is not put in action, it's never going to become a fire. So off you go. Because pay attention to the red flags. This is also, to me, a card of red flags. Look at this. Like, somebody is like so obsessed with how well they're doing. Oh my gosh, look at this, look at me. And not really seeing that a whole bunch of people around, or kitty cats in this situation, are, you know, devastated and at a loss of what to do and what to say. Have a King of Swords and have a King of Wands. There is like this action moving forward in spite of this realization, but it's going to be positive. It looks like that you actually have learned your lesson. I would not be surprised if we also get 9 of Wands card somewhere. Kind of like you do know this person. You do know that they're not really fully clear up there. You know, they are not the sharpest pencil in the box. And I think you're probably also knowing that, you know, I just want to see that. I just want to see what's going to happen, because now I am observing you versus before that just happened. So just like maybe you're giving this kind of new trial, but the truth is you're holding yourself from, you know, something possibly new, because it's telling me you're going to not go in this new person enthusiasm. You have this Knave of Wands. Yeah, look at this Ace of Cups and the Temperance. The time is not ready for this new love. You're still giving this relationship a chance. See, the next stage would be release your ex, but I don't think they are there yet. I really think that somebody new is knocking on your door. You do have this karma card, so karma is in motion. You have 2 6s, so this is definitely karmic soulmate situation, and you're really trying to see where this goes. It could be some legalities that are involved that you kind of like need to move forward, or thinking about legalities. That is for sure. There is like still going to be, in spite of everything, another way, another attempt of this person to betray you. you kind of like are trying to go through this healing process. You're trying to forgive, you're trying to forget. You're going maybe deep in therapy, and then the Magician, this is the Mercury retrograde, is going to bring things from the past. Is going to unearth everything they're saying they have earned and they have learned, and they're not going to do that anymore. They're going to do all of that all over again. And the Queen of Pentacles and the Knave of Chalices. And I think this will be it. This will be it. It will be, look, you know, you betray me when I trusted you. Then I gave you this extraordinary opportunity to be there with me, for me, to rebuild this, to be my friend. You don't do this to your friends. I remember breaking up with somebody whom I really loved, and who was begging me to be a friend with me, and without going in the reasons that I've given, I said, well, you know, we actually are not friends. The only thing we can connect is like in a relationship, but even that relationship will go nowhere because we are not friends. So that's why my decision is final. And that's kind of like reminding me of this over here. You kind of looks like you, some of you could be married to someone, and you really want to reconcile this marriage. You want to heal it. You want to work on it, but not at every cost. You know, you need to feel comfort. You need to feel safety. You need to feel that you are like making these decisions. You need to feel either like a woman, if you're a woman, if you're a man, that you can actually allow yourself to be emotional. You can allow yourself to have that motherly instinct, so sort to kind of like really not just be always stoic for your kids, but just to be there for them, so they will run into your hug, kind of a thing, right? Because check this out, immediately after this happens, there's going to be a sense of retreat and the shock of being back in the square one. This is totally what it is. It's going to be this like pangs of jealousy. It's going to be, you know, I have missed the point. Some people who are prone to basically blaming themselves, they will blame themselves. Even though this is showing to people, this is really telling you that it is time to disconnect from the world and kind of like see the right from wrong. Moon is generally giving us, it's kind of interesting, you have both moon and the sun. So the moon is somebody who is like, oh, I have learned my lesson, going to come back and say, try to gaslight you, try to convince you that you don't know what you're doing, that you have made this mistake, right? Yeah, you do know what you're doing, you just caught them, and they're trying to make you basically distrust your own judgment. There you go, again, a confirmation. 2 of Swords and 10 of Pentacles. They'll be appealing and pulling all the strings that you need to hear. This is all for the family, etc. But yeah, you need to figure out what is the best for the family. Is it the best for the family? Try to work and make yourself miserable. Or can you walk this tightrope when you don't even know if somebody's going to pull this rope, like just or cut it anytime, because you just cannot trust them anymore. This entire month is giving me kind of like this feeling that you will be in some kind of like state of suspense, kind of like you'll be looking at things, you'll be leaving, literally you'll be giving somebody a rope and hoping they're not going to hang themselves with it. Unfortunately, I think they will. Unfortunately, I do think they will, because it keeps telling me that kind of like it will go back to the old issues. You know, there is like nothing wrong. Something on the outside, somebody is going to be appealing on giving and taking, and there is like this equality, 6 of Pentacles, and you have like 7. You have the Chariot reversed and the Death reversed. You know, you will keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Somebody, and you're Cancer, this is like your card, right? Like this is like obviously going to be very emotional, kind of Cancer and Scorpio flavor over here, and Pisces. So somebody is really pulling those emotional strings, like, which is clearly stating this is not the right time, this is not the right place for anything new, because you are so emotional, you are kind of like trying to make things really work, because it's not only that it's the family kind of thing that you want to make it work, but you actually genuinely want this person, attracted to this person. You're kind of like hoping that somehow that can kind of like get these new legs and continue springing. But the truth is, like, how many more times will you need it to kind of like be shown to you that something is just going to create perpetual suffering? When the death card reverses, it's not a good news. It's telling me that there's some kind of suffering. As I said, there's like not a give and take over here. Somebody is just like taking. And, you know, if you keep giving, that's fine. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you that if you're doing that with hope that things will get better, well, things will not get better with that person. Things will get better, though, if you kind of like turn it to yourself. Because this is saying, free yourself. Free yourself from something that has been, from the problems, from going back through the same old and same old. You deserve better. You deserve much more. You deserve to go in a new direction. And you have the High Priestess reversed, and you have 10 of Cups. You know what? As long as there are these secrets, as long as you're dealing with those issues in the past, from the past, as long as you think the commitment has to be above everything else, you're actually not giving yourself a chance. You're not giving anybody around you a chance. Because that's why I don't like the Hierophant card. Hierophant card is almost like some universal force that keeps us captive, and we have to obey to these rules. How many people obey to these rules these days? Well, you know, I think the moment when somebody checks out on those rules, well, then this card is over as well. So then you also have to realize, look, you know, I have been betting on something that is not there. Kind of like you have a good news, you kind of like have this fortitude, like it's kind of like you have the Empress, you have the 2 kings, you can kind of look at it emotionally, you can look at it kind of like through the actions, you can kind of keep doing things, you can keep talking to people. But no matter what you do this month, you are going to do that, and you should do that to energize yourself. Like encouragement is there, like enthusiasm, zest for life, it's all there. There is like this positivity. So this is why the codependency is there. It makes sense. This person kind of like kept you almost like captive. And I don't think in chains necessarily, but maybe you have been dealing with somebody who is obnoxious, alcoholic, who kind of like splurges, like, I mean, pay money on drugs or on booze, who is not paying your child support, who is just awful. And you're thinking, well, it's going to be better. I'm just going to do this for the kids. Because the Sun is also the card of children and card of birds, card of happiness, but it's also card of marriage. And it's kind of going to happen over here, something really different. Whoa, can you getting that 8? These are like 2 Leo cards. And that's kind of like we are going through the Leo period. And I really think the key over here to unleash certain things, like this person keeps doing that, but its solution is not in how you relate with them. The solution is inside. This long term with them currently makes no sense. You really need to get rid of the problems. So if they have a problem, you need to get rid of them, because then the sun will shine. You will be optimistic. You'll be rebuilding yourself. You will understand what makes you strong, right? Just realization that certain things cannot be built, that certain things are just not meant to be built, that certain things are just end of the road is sufficient. I mean, the Empress is a really good card. Like, I mean, the Empress is the one that is really talking about not really needing anyone. So kind of like cluing in that you can create your own world and free yourself from people who are making you basically miserable, from what I see over here, and who are willing to lie and cheat and disappear. You know, trust me, it's going to be easier without them, and you're going to kind of like reach kind of like that equilibrium and balance. I really want to see it here, even though I really, this talks about it, there is like nowhere going, but I just want to see also what kind of realization you will reach. Do I have 3? Oh, I thought I had 3. And there it is. Yeah, this card does talk about the money. Letter about money and the death. I think that's what's going to happen. Maybe some of you are going through the legal process already. Maybe this is an issue about child support. And if so, it looks like it might mean that somebody's going to stop doing it, or you will stop investing into things that are no longer productive. There is like this essence of secrecy when I see the money, but there is also some kind of like death of money. Something is going to stop over here, but it's going to actually work well for you in the long term. Almost looks like you will stop doing that. You will stop allowing somebody to be both money drain, both emotional drain, and now the death card being twice over here, it is clearly telling you to put a stop on something. You guys need to give yourself a chance. That's all there is. And you have enough energy this month to do so. So before you run away, I actually did pull one more card for you. And just to let you know again, this is a general reading. Check your ascendant, check your rising sign. You know, different things resonate at different times. And my readings are not meant for general public. My readings are really meant for people who are really willing to work on themselves. This is simply a guidance. To get the faster kind of like lane for this guidance, there's always a private reading, and I always recommend that. And also, karma readings are absolutely amazing for kind of like us to know which path we need to travel. So my dear Cancer, you got a card, encouragement, and look at this lovely card. It says you're receiving a nudge in the right direction. This card tells you that you're being gently encouraged to step into your power, into the dream of your life. New things are out there to be explored, and the nurturing power of the universe is giving you a nudge in the right direction. You will get the help you need and won't be alone in your quest. Every step you take right now is supported by the wisdom of the universe. So you're on the right path. Keep going. So it looks like to me, guys, you have decided, I will turn every stone. And even if this means even hurting yourself, just to prove to yourself, and interestingly, we didn't get 9 of Wands, but to prove it to yourself, you're giving somebody one more chance. Kind of, let's see what happens. So you'll be going through repetitive, yes, I have changed, yes, I have done it. And then you're going to give them just one more chance. And that's going to be it. I have a feeling that they're going to blast that chance, and to you it's going to be clear, hey, I have done everything. I have tried everything. I have nothing to feel guilty for. It is time to move on. So this is just my take. So my dear Cancer, thank you so much for being here with me until the end. If you want your daily dose of tarot, check my Facebook or check my Instagram, and you see here, become a part of this exclusive club and be invited when the new readings are out there, as well as be notified when new readings are out. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful month, and I'm really looking forward to reading all your comments. Love you.